Have you ever wondered how the heck do you do a reverse balayage? Like when they want to go darker? Well, you're in luck because you're in the right place, because today I'm going to show you exactly how to go darker with a balayage look. And I'm actually doing highlights and lowlights on my client, so it's kind of a double header. So I'm really excited to dive into this tutorial with you. Let's get ready, friend. Buckle up. You're in for one heck of a ride. Hey, if we haven't met, my name's Dawn Bradley and I help hairstylists earn six figures stress-free. So know that you are in the best place for students, stylists, and salon owners.
All right, here is the before. She was feeling like there was just too much of a distinct line. It was feeling too bright and too dense on the ends. So although it's not great, like it just felt a little too stripy and too blonde to her for as a brunette. So we wanted to go in, create more depth, blend it out, make it look more softer, believable, and natural. So I'm so excited to show you exactly what we do with Kalina's hair today. So of course I got my trusty Shades EQ 4NB, the maple for the low light. Now I use Shades EQ because it blends really well. Then I went and got my Oligo Black Light Clay Lightener for balayage. 40 vol. I know it seems crazy. Check out the other videos I have about mixing and why I do that, because it is a complete game changer. Okay, so I always start at the base of the neck. Now I'm going to be doing highlights and lowlights and doing reverse balayage, which means she's going to look darker in the end. But I wanted to bring up some of those highlights. Although I'm going to be toning them down quite a bit, I want to make sure I break up the base of her color there. So I always use the flat side of the brush, and I use quite a thick clay lightener. So even though the 40 vol is in there, it's not going to lift that much or intense because I don't have the ratio to powder to lighteners, not really high. I mean, if you want to go check out some of my other videos, I will link them up in the corner here. But know that this type of balayage, you don't need to be scared of using 40 volume. You can use 30 or 20 as well. I just find using 40 gives more consistency to me. And because it's in open air, it's more like a 20 vol would be in a foil. Now I am always wiping my gloves off between sections. This is like a really important part that people miss, and why balayage, whether it's regular balayage or reverse balayage, is really hard for people because they don't mix off their gloves. It feels time consuming. It feels like a waste of your time and energy, but I promise you it is totally worth it. Okay, so the reason why I'm doing these two sides underneath at the nape is because when she pulls her hair over in front of her shoulder, this is kind of a rule of thumb I have, is if the hair can come over the shoulder, I want to make sure that the ends are a little bit lighter, because naturally that's what the hair does in the sun. So although we are taking her darker, I want the dimension and the reflection in the highlights. They're not going to be super bright, but I want the reflection to look like the ends are slightly lighter, because that's more natural. When the ends are darker, when the underneath is darker at the ends, when it comes over the shoulder, it looks false and it actually makes the hair look shorter. So if you want to give someone, if someone's growing out their hair and you want it to make it look longer instantly and have them be like, oh my gosh, make the ends lighter. It draws the eyes down. Oh, and here's the low light. I don't want to miss this. Well, we'll come back to that. Okay, so I take the Shades EQ and I've used shoulders in the way. Great one, Dawn. Way to get this on film. Don't worry, there's more sections of this later on. But I use Shades EQ. I have played around with permanent colors, and I've played around with color lines that aren't as liquefied as shades, and I end up getting, I call them speed bumps, or like skid marks on the hair. Other colors that aren't a liquid don't glide through the hair as well, and when I'm trying to create a smooth transition, you can't create the actual graduation and blend on the strand the way you do with this lightener. But to mimic that, Shades EQ is the best. Yes, it's a demi-permanent. Yes, it'll wash out eventually, or fade. I mean, not wash out completely, but fade. But I can get the glide and the smoothness without seeing like these like accidental like skid marks, speed bumps, I call them. I don't know why. Can you, I mean, if you've ever tried putting a low light in freehand, you've likely had that. Let me actually know in the comments if you know what I'm talking about when I say skid marks or speed bumps. It's when you like try to put the color all the way through and you're trying to blend it, but you rinse it off and it kind of looks skippy. So know that that's why I use Shades EQ. I love it for it. You can see here I'm applying. My goodness, I got this new camera, which is great, but I didn't realize it was focusing on my arm. I mean, you will see this more in depth, but I'm not going right up to the root because I picked a color in Shades EQ that was around her natural level because I wanted to blend it in. We're keeping this really natural, which means we don't want a line of demarcation. I want the Shades EQ to be an extension of her natural with a little bit more tone. You can see I'm also using a comb to comb it through. I use the wide tooth end of the comb to comb the low light through so it pulls it down. If you use the fine tooth, it's going to pull the color off the strand of hair. If you use the wide tooth comb, it's going to distribute it better. So I'm going through and you can see my sectioning maybe doesn't make sense to you. And if you're someone who's like a perfectionist, there you can see how I apply it there. I use my fingers to blend it and then the comb to pull it through. If you're a perfectionist, seeing this is probably going to drive you cuckoo bananas. I go with the flow of the hair, which means I take a step back. I look at the hair. You can see I'm wiping my gloves off again, always between sections. But I look at how the hair naturally falls and I pick my sectioning from there. I also take triangle inspired sections. You can see there, kind of the triangle, because hair isn't one dimensional. It moves, it flows, and our hair doesn't flow in like tiny rectangular shapes like we would put in a foil. So because I'm not doing foils and I'm doing open air, I can take whatever shape I want. And because I'm painting on the surface here, it's not going to look like a big chunk, which is really cool, but the ends are going to be a bit more dense. Kalina's hair here is also very fine, like mine. I empathize with fine haired people. And so we can take a large section, but you can see the ends aren't super thick or heavy. And so the cool thing about this reverse balayage and doing open air techniques like this and more freehand techniques is you can make fine hair look more natural and look fuller by taking larger sections because the ends aren't as full. But if you were to do a bunch of highlights, it would all kind of just blend in, kind of what she had before where there was no distinct variation between color. It kind of, her highlights previously kind of just looked like an overall lighter version because fine hair is really hard that way. You just don't have as many strands of hair. Anyway, I digress. We're talking about reverse balayage. So you can see there how I am, okay, here's the low light. So I drag it on right above where the highlights were. So this is how you cover up previously highlighted hair to create a reverse balayage here. And you blend it in with your fingers. And then I'm going to take the wide tooth part of my comb there. Yes. And comb it through to make sure that the ends are fully saturated. This is a game changer for whether someone's coming in with previously foiled highlights or they're going from light to dark but want to maintain a balayage look. I really want you to remember to not overthink this. That's the thing I got tripped up the most is when I was like, oh my gosh, like, how do I do this? But just, I really think inside out. If I was going lighter, what would I do? And therefore I'm going to do the opposite. So you can see here that I'm making sure I don't put a highlight right on this section too high up because I want to make sure she keeps the depth of her hair as well as have that brightness on the ends. So the biggest mistake I see when people do reverse balayage of any type is keeping lightness in the wrong places. So yes, I am doing highlights and lowlights on this reverse balayage, but the highlights are very low down and they are just blending and they're keeping the ends lighter to have that balayage look. But this piece right here, especially, you want to have it well rooted. So here I am around the front of the hairline and I'm making a very skinny slight piece around her face for a slight highlight. But once again, because she's going darker and she wants to look darker, I'm not going high up. This is just to give it that slight sun-kissed look with these highlights. And you're going to see at the end just how subtle and dimensional these are. So I'm just going to let you watch here for a bit, watch my sectioning around the front, watch how I apply the lowlights, kind of really think with an inquisitive eye, watch with an inquisitive eye, think with an inquisitive mind, the placement. And if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below. I am here to help and I want to make sure that you can successfully do a reverse balayage after watching this video. Now you can see, I said I was going to just let you watch. I'm using foil here, not to incubate, but just to keep it off her face. Sometimes these sections around the face, especially because I'm not pulling it back off her face, I just use a foil so I don't accidentally highlight her eyebrow because I've done that before. Okay, watch. I mean, my shoulder kind of gets in the way here again, but I want you to just watch how I section, watch how I'm pulling it back, and really think about how it's going to fall in the end. And I mean, I would love to just chat your ear off, but I really want you to start letting your brain problem solve and watch how the puzzle pieces come together. I said, nice and light around the face, not big and chunky, especially with fine hair. This is it. Doesn't it look awesome already? Just seeing the processing. Now I'm going to show you quickly what I toned overall with, and you're going to see the end result. So I went in at the sink and toned with an 8V, 7V, because we wanted to keep it cool. We wanted to have some depth, and ashes definitely create more depth, but have dimension. So are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to show you the end result. Look at how natural and beautiful this looks. More depth, less like you could, where before you could see where her highlights all were and they looked all dense. This just looks natural, but then you can tell it's highlighted, but then you don't really know it's highlighted. Oh my gosh. I am so in love with this result. I hope you love it too. Let me know what you think in the comments. I mean, this is the perfect fall brunette balayage, all reversed balayage today, that gives some dimension without looking orangey, stripy, or chunky. It just will have people wondering, how did they do that with her hair? I can't wait for you to try this out. So like I said, leave your comments and questions below and have some fun. Okay, I've got a couple more things I want to tell you before you go.
All right, what did you think? Did you like it? Did you hate it? I want to know. I kind of don't want to know, but I want to know. So go ahead and leave me a comment. It's like that, I want positive feedback. I want constructive criticism, but also, can you be nice about it? YouTube is one heck of a place for mean comments. So go ahead and just tell me what you liked. Tell me what you'd like more of. And if there's any tips or things that I missed that you'd like to see more of, I want to hear from you because I make these for you. And if you want to get the best clients in your chair and you're not really sure how, you want to do these new techniques, but you just are stuck with your 5N root retouches, well, go ahead and check out the client building bundle in the description below. You are going to love it. I'm going to show you how I built and rebuilt my clientele 6 different times on 3 different continents over the last 20 years. And what I teach you doesn't revolve only around social media. So if you're like, social media ain't my thing, Dawn, well, I got you, because you can apply this on or offline. So you're going to love it. Go check it out. And then while you're here, why don't you check out one of these videos? Because I think you're really going to like them.